Hey guys, Mike with KC Tarantulas here. Just wanted to give you guys an update, and unfortunately it's not a very happy one. One of my tarantulas, which would be my Idiothele Mira, named Rafiki, passed away this past week. That particular tarantula I had had since March, and it hadn't seemed to be thriving. It only molted once in my care. I got it at the same time that I got Luvia, my Pamphobedia species, and when I got them both, they were pretty small, probably about the size of maybe a nickel. And then the Rafiki molted and got to about the size of a quarter. And then Luvia, the Pamphobedia species, is now probably about that big. So it's doing great. So yeah, the Rafiki never really seemed to kind of take off in terms of growth like a lot of my other tarantulas. And this past week, I was checking on my tarantulas like I do very often, and noticed that Rafiki hadn't moved in a long time and was kind of in one spot. So I went ahead and took the enclosure off the shelf and put it here on my desk and started taking a look. I tried to drop some water droplets in front of Rafiki, thinking maybe there was some sort of dehydration going on even though the water dish was full. You know, maybe Rafiki just forgot where the water was or something. I don't know. And so when I dropped the water droplets in front of Rafiki, I got no reaction. So that was surprising as well. So then I took a paintbrush and tried to see if I was getting a reaction out of that, and I did not. So at that point, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a quick picture. I took a picture at that point. So here's what Rafiki looked like at that time. As you can see, Rafiki's abdomen got very large, and had been for a while. Rafiki had been eating normally for a while and had the last molt in May, and then since then had been eaten and had gone a couple different times, you know, almost a month without eating. And since there was no molt happening, I would still put in food to try food to see maybe this one wasn't ready. And I remembered that the first time that Rafiki, well, the first and only time that Rafiki molted, Rafiki ate like almost the day before the molt. So and other people had told me that, you know, this kind of species tended to eat right up until it molted. So I was still providing food and offering food. And Rafiki, actually, the past 2 times I had offered food, refused it. So I was like, okay, we're going into pre-molt. But that didn't happen. So this is how you guys will see that there's moisture in front of Rafiki there. That's where I tried dropping water. And so I wasn't getting any response. And so when I didn't get the response, I thought maybe Rafiki was molting, but molting upright, which happens. You know, sometimes tarantulas do that. So I waited. I waited about 8 hours. And after 8 hours, no change. And I was looking very closely, and I did see some very minute movements. Tips of the feet and the spinnerets would move ever so slightly. And so I knew that Rafiki was still alive. And so at this point, I'd contacted people on arachnoboards, trying to get some, and some people on some Facebook groups to kind of get some extra input on this. And started thinking, okay, well, what else could this be? Another thing that I thought it could be would be impaction, which is when if your tarantula eats food normally, but then never seems to molt, could be impaction. Something could be in the digestive tract that's not allowing them to defecate, and ultimately can lead to death. I think Tom from Tom's Big Spiders has a really good article on his website about it. And so I started thinking, and people that I was talking to started thinking, maybe that's what it could be. So I went into this mode of, okay, let's see what we can do to possibly save Rafiki. And I put Rafiki in a Tupperware with a paper towel, not wet. I didn't want to go into like ICU. Sorry guys, nose itch. I didn't want to do like an ICU thing. That's a whole nother can of worms for another day. So I just had a dry paper towel and I put Rafiki in there and flipped Rafiki over. And then went and got some Q-tips and warm water, and I was gonna try to see if there was any dried fecal matter that I could clean off to maybe, you know, see if I could maybe get Rafiki some relief and maybe turn this around. And so I went ahead and turned Rafiki over, and I got out my USB microscope so I could see maybe a little bit closer, and turned that on and looked to see if I could find any fecal matter that would have been dried that I could clean off. And I didn't, but what I did find startled me. Sorry, not to be all clickbaity kind of with that, but seriously, I was looking and I noticed that there was small white dots that were moving around the book lungs, and upon further inspection in other places on Rafiki, and I looked closely on Rafiki's mouth, and these things were around the mouth, which, you know, anybody that knows anything about bad things that can happen to tarantulas understand that, like nematodes, worms, mites, parasitic mites, fly larvae, there's a lot of things that can take residence in a tarantula's body, and you'll see them around the mouth. I got another picture here. This is what I saw under the microscope, and if you see there, the small things were moving around. They were crawling around. They weren't wiggling, and so I and some other people I spoke to decided it was most likely mites. And I did talk to a biologist on arachnoboards about this, and the biologists and some other people, we kind of, our conclusion and what we think happened is that it wasn't these mites that caused the death, but these mites kind of took residence within Rafiki because of Rafiki not being strong enough to kind of get them away from them or get them out of his or her mouth or stuff like that. And so and that kind of lends itself to a theory that I have, just that Rafiki from the beginning really wasn't thriving, wasn't doing good, and I think that Rafiki just, something else happened. Either it could have been impaction or it just could have been genetic disposition, that Rafiki got weak and wasn't making it, and then the mites came in and took hold. So, of course, once I discovered this, I went into like a semi-panic, thinking that it might be like parasitic mites, and it could have been gotten into other enclosures. And I had Rafiki on this, right here on this shelf in this cube, and so like all four of these in the top and everything, I took all the enclosures out of there, put them in a quarantine. I bleached all of that, cleaned all of that, looked into the enclosures, and I've kind of had time now that it's been a few days. I've checked over all the other tarantulas, and nobody else seems to have mites, so it seems like it was contained only to that enclosure, which is good. I've done some rehousings of some that were just like, you know, had been in that enclosure for a little bit longer than others. I was like, well, I'm just gonna rehouse everyone, rehouse all the things. And so that's kind of what I spent this weekend doing, and that's why I don't have like a bigger video for you guys. So yeah, that's what happened. I'm pretty bummed about it. I was excited to see Rafiki. Oh, actually, another thing I want to tell you guys about is, like, for the past 2 months, Rafiki wasn't even in the burrow. I mean, this is a trapdoor tarantula, you know. They hide out in their burrow constantly, and then they come out to grab food. But Rafiki had been out of the burrow for like 2 months, so that's weird. That's not normal, and that should have been the first red flag, really, or the second. First one should have been Just the size, never really increasing. I just thought it was a slow grower, but yeah. So that's what happened. I'm pretty bummed. I don't like losing any spiders. I know that keeping small slings, that is a possibility, and I accept that, but it still sucks. I'm pretty bummed. I don't know if I'm going to be getting another Idiothele Mira anytime soon. I haven't quite made that decision yet, so we'll see. Yeah, so rest in peace, Rafiki. Yep, I just wanted to let you guys know what happened. Maybe this can help somebody else kind of maybe notice these things a little bit sooner. And I don't want to make this whole video, you know, depressing and sad. So I do want to do something else. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to do some shout outs. Show you guys some other channels that I've been watching. Some of them I might have already kind of talked about. I can't remember, but I'm just gonna show you guys some channels, and kind of maybe you guys can follow some of these people because I think they deserve it. So let's go ahead and we'll do that real fast. The first one up here is Random Glasses. Random Glasses is a young boy and his dad, and they have started getting into the hobby of keeping tarantulas, and it's adorable, it's endearing. They have some cool tarantulas, and it seems like the young boy is extremely excited, which is you know, kind of how we all are, but definitely brings some childlike exuberance to to the keeping hobby. So definitely check Random Glasses out. The next one I'm going to show you guys is the Tarantula Cave. Tarantula Cave, he has been putting out some really great videos for a fairly new channel. Got a lot of cool species. Has some really cool videos about, as you see here, the breeding mealworms. Yeah, I really like this channel. I'm excited to see what he comes up with going forward. Andrew's Tarantulas. Andrew is someone who follows my channel. And let me just go ahead and so you guys don't have to see all my bookmarks. Andrew has talked to me in the past about watching some of Andrew's videos. I kind of give him some tips and tricks. I think Andrew puts out some really good content. Has a really cool collection. Just got a whole bunch of new ones in a package here. You guys should check this out. Some pretty cool species. Another 10 editions in that video. Andrew's collection's growing really fast, but I don't think the viewer numbers are growing fast enough. So definitely show Andrew some love, guys. Another new channel that I found recently, Jeepers Creepers Tarantulas. He has some pretty cool enclosures that he's been making, like a 3D picture frame stuff. Some reviews on some cockroaches, it looks like. So definitely check out Jeepers Creepers Tarantulas as well. Moss, I think I've shouted out Moss before, but if I haven't, Moss is awesome. Also always commenting on my videos. Got some cool stuff. Yeah, so there's another one to check out. Let's see here, Noriv's Eight-Legged Critters, or as I refer to him as Nori. Nori does some cool stuff. They do weekly streams using, I think, the PlayStation app. So if you see down here, these are all past streams, but Nori does live stuff, live feedings and stuff on, I think, Thursday afternoons, Thursday evenings. Those are cool. You guys should check them out. And then it looks like there's a new video that I haven't even watched that I'm gonna have to check out. But it looks like Nori does do some other stuff that's not live, but definitely not often enough. And I usually do give him some grief about that. But hopefully that will be increasing here in the future. Another one here is Project Tarantula. They got some really cool footage. I like this video here of the H. gigas checking out some minnows. I'm hoping that we'll see some actual footage of it catching some minnows, but in that one it was just checking them out. And I eventually want to do that with my H. gigas, so I'm pretty excited to see more of Project Tarantula's videos regarding that one. And last but not least, here we have Stuggy. Stuggy is someone you should watch if you like scorpions. Tons of good information on scorpions has been shared by Stuggy to me in our Tarantula Addicts Discord channel. And I've been talking with Stuggy. I think that he's going to be making more videos where he is talking and giving information because he has a ton of information to share. So if you like scorpions, check out Stuggy. I'm sure there will be more videos coming in the future that has a lot of information. And then also check out, our Discord channel, which I link in the information section down below in every video. If you guys just want people to talk to about tarantulas or invertebrates in general, it's the place to do it. So that's some channels I think you guys should check out. That's my update on Rafiki. So yeah, check out those channels, comment down below, check out the Discord channel, all those things that I usually say. But thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully next week I'll have a video that is a lot less depressing for you. I do have some cool stuff that I'm working on that I'm excited about, that it's just moving along, and hopefully I will have some news on some of those things soon. But I'll keep you guys updated. Follow Facebook for the latest updates usually. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.